Hello. So in this practice, we're going to be doing a prone, which means face down. Well, it can mean a lot of things. Prone would be my palm facing down, or my bottom of my foot facing down, or in my entire body facing down. It's like pouring, pronating, or supinating, which means my body would be facing upward. My palms are upward. So just so you can kind of start to understand the language in the titles of the exercises that I give you. So prone, face down, 3-chamber breathing. So the 3 chambers are 1, the space from your belly button to your hip points, to your pelvic floor, back to your rectum, through the sacrum, this whole pelvic bowl. Chamber 2 is the space from the belly button to the end of the sternum, lining the ribs all the way along the back, kind of straight across. The 3rd chamber is all of this heart space from the clavicles down, the back ribs, the shoulder blades, so the scapulas, the mid-spine, all of that. The circumference of this area is our 3rd chamber. We're going to use a pattern of breath. We're just going to inhale for about 3-4 seconds, hold, and exhale, relax, and hold. We'll do 3 breaths like that. Then in that same area, we will exhale first to engage past the still point, exhale volume, inhale to relax, exhale to engage. We'll do that 3 times for each area. So that's 6 breaths in each of the chambers, okay? So let's go ahead and face down. I'm gonna pretend somebody's laying down here, okay? And you can put your head on your hands. I want your shoulders to be relaxed. And start to breathe in and out the nose. And start to feel where the breath wants to go. And what you're gonna feel is the pressure into the floor. And I want you to notice when you inhale, where along the spine you feel that pressure change between your torso and the ground. Just gently inhaling, pause for a moment, exhale. And breathe however you naturally want to breathe to explore this feeling of pressure change. The relationship between you and the ground, allowing you to feel what's happening internally. Let's do 3 inhales through the nose and long exhale to sigh, again out the nose. Inhale, try to fill the whole spine. Pause for a moment and exhale. Inhale gently through the nose along the whole spine. Pause for a moment. And then exhale, sigh it out the nose. One more. Inhale gently through the nose. Fill the whole spine. Pause for a moment at the top. And exhale, let it fall out with a sound. Let that sound fade off. And again, natural breath here. Now we're going to begin at the bottom chamber, that 1st chamber, that chamber in that space below the belly button. So I want you to feel the belly button in the floor. Feel where that is. Maybe you can breathe into just the belly button, which is kind of the center of the core. We want to go a little bit deeper, but let's just try to bring space below the ribs. Below the ribs, inhaling. Feeling that expansion around 360, not just into the ground, but up into the back ribs, the lower back itself. And then exhale, relax, feel like it's smaller. A few breaths here. I'm just trying to get a sense of where and how to locate my spine, where it is, what it feels like. And we're going to go to this first chamber, the space below the belly button. It involves the P muscles, the poo muscles, all the muscles at the base of the spine. And we're going to gently inhale down into the feet, into the hips, and exhale, relax the air out. Inhale for 3, 2, 1, hold. Exhale, let the air fall out. Inhale, 3, 2, 1, and exhale, let the air fall out. Natural breath here. Again, breathing into the pelvis. Even if you're imagining breathing into that space and you notice that you are not able to bring breath into that area, that's okay. Notice your intention versus the physical manifestation of that, what's actually happening. So now in that same space, we're going to begin with an exhale. We'll take a small inhale if you need to. And exhale, begin to squeeze and compress the abs away from the floor. And then inhale, release the abs. So creating a mechanism, we're exhaling at the same time we engage the abs, compressing the air out. Hold the abs, don't let them release, and then inhale to release the abs. And you may notice, doing that one more time, exhale, hold it. You may notice that the inhale and the release of the abs are timed differently. Let's just take some natural breaths here. And try to think about what just happened. Were you able to match the inhale with the release of the ab muscles of the core? We're going to try that one more time for 3 breaths. Because aligning these two actions is a mechanism that is important for strength, for relaxation, for body realignment, postural realignment, same thing, but all of those things. Releasing tension from the organs means releasing emotions, releasing things that no longer serve you. So we're going to, again, exhale for 3, 2, 1, engaging the core. You should feel it pull away from the ground. And then inhale, release. And allow the air to flood into the base of the spine. Notice if it goes into the chest, that's okay. Exhale again. Pull the abs away from the floor. Hold the breath out. Squeeze the abs. And inhale, release. And one more time. Exhale. Pull the abs in. Pelvic floor, P muscles, poo muscles, all those muscles. Squeeze them and hold them. Hold the breath out. Hold them in. Inhale, release. And exhale, relax. Take some natural breaths here. If they need to be bigger breaths, allow your body to reset its breathing pattern. Come back to a natural breath. And we're going to move to the second chamber. So the space above the belly button. We're just going to feel into this space, again, allowing the breath to continue to reset, letting it be. And bringing your awareness and your intention to the space above your belly button. You can even take your fingers for a moment away from your forehead and follow them along the ribs and even the end points of the ribs. Notice how I don't call them a rib cage, because it is not a cage. We're creating mobility, we're creating range of motion, we're creating and giving you space. So let's start with our words. They are the ribs. And so as you feel these rib spaces, I want you to take an inhale into your fingers. If they're on the ribs, inhale into the fingers, into the ground. And then exhale, try to relax. Relax the ribs away from the fingers. No compression yet, no squeezing. Inhale into the fingers, into the ground. And exhale, relax the air out. Inhale into the fingers, into the ground, into the back. Hold the breath. And exhale, relax the air out. One more. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Hold. And exhale, let the air fall out. Remove the hands, place them back on the forehead. And let the breath settle here. And allow these natural breaths to again be in this space. This second chamber is the neutral space of the breath. This is where the breath should reside when you are going about your daily life. It is the holding space of the breath, the bottom of the lungs. I want you to imagine that each breath fills the bottom first. Each gentle inhale, you'll feel it expand down into your organs. And as you imagine this, notice, is the body doing the opposite? Is it breathing more up into the collarbones and into the shoulders at the beginning of that inhale? Maybe it takes a little bit more of an inhale to actually feel movement in that second chamber. Notice your current pattern. Now we're going to begin again with a small inhale and an exhale to contract and compress the ribs away from the floor. Now when we do this, I want you to notice if your first instinct or your first movement is pressure into the floor. That means your pattern is reversed, and that is okay. In these practices, we want you to figure out what you're actually doing first, and then you can change it. So small inhale into the ribs, the belly button, and exhale. You can hiss or exhale out the nose. Compress the ribs away from the floor. Squeeze the abs away. Hold the breath out. Inhale, release. And expand into the belly button and into the bottom ribs. Imagine filling those spaces first. Exhale, pull away, hold. Inhale, release down and out, expanding in all directions. One more, exhale. Hold it. Inhale, release. And exhale, relax the breath. Notice we use that same mechanism with the pelvic floor and with the ribs. In these 3 chambers, you can use the same breath. And if you've looked at my past videos, you will understand moving around the still point. Not only is the second chamber the neutral point of the breath, but there's also a still point in that breath that sits there. And I can expand around it, I can compress into it, but it always comes back to this neutral point. And it may take a few times and repetitions for you to imagine or see this or feel this. So if it's not something you fully grasp now, just listen and allow it to soak into each cell, each one of my words. Allow it to soak in. This still point, this space behind the belly button, where your natural breath should reside. Your homeostasis should be. We're going to do that one more time, exhaling, pulling the ribs away from the ground, and inhaling, relaxing back to this neutral still point. Small inhale to begin, and exhale. Pull the abs in. You can pull all the way from the pelvic floor. You can get that first chamber involved. Inhale, release. Belly button, sides of the ribs. These are the 3 focal points. Hold the breath. Again, exhale, pull away from the ground. Hold the breath out. Keep the abs engaged. Inhale, release. One more time. Exhale. Pull the abs away from the floor. Compress them away. Your spine should not move. Relax the spine. Inhale, release. And exhale, relax. Maybe just shake this, just gently move the spine side to side like a snake. Just shake out the shoulders a little bit. Just move around gently, letting the breath reset, so focusing on the movement. Come back to a neutral position. And forehead on the hands, shoulder blades relaxed away from the ears. Elbows, biceps, triceps relaxed into the floor. Armpits melted into the floor. Notice where the breath now wants to naturally reset. Maybe it's not in this neutral space in the second chamber, but it's more residing higher up into the chest. When you stop controlling it, where does it want to go? This is the image that we must first come to before we can change our current patterns, our current ways of being, our homeostasis itself. So now we're going to move to this third chamber, the upper portion of the last chamber, the space we're probably most used to breathing into. And if you can, even face down on the ground, just take your hands and you're going to place your thumbs in your armpits and your fingers in front of your chest, kind of at the either side of the sternum. And with your fingers, you can kind of feel the space between each rib. There's spaces. Really put some pressure into those spaces. It kind of move along so you can feel the ribbed feeling of the ribs. Going up and down. And then maybe going side to side so you can smoothly go in between the ribs. Now feel into the thumbs. Those thumbs can kind of palpate around and feel in between the spaces of the ribs. And then go up and down over each rib, like an instrument, like a little xylophone. Playing a little song with the muscles. It may be painful as you put pressure into it. Just relax into that. Massaging even with your thumbs. Feel into that space. All the ribs, they get up into that armpit. Now relaxing the shoulders, keeping the fingers here. I want you to inhale, expand into the thumbs and into the fingers. Hold. And exhale, relax the ribs away from the fingers. Inhale down into the thumbs, still down into the diaphragm, expand the fingers. Hold and exhale, relax. One more, inhale, expand down into the thumbs, then up into the fingers. Hold, relax the shoulders, and then exhale. And then breathe here. We're just going to do one round of compressions here because I feel the importance of this practice was in the lower chambers. And once you grasp the mechanisms that we went over in the lower chambers, the upper chamber will be much easier to access. So we're going to, you can keep the thumbs there, you can put the hands back on the forehead. But you're going to exhale and try to compress the sternum, that center of the chest, the ribs away from the floor. Compress the ribs, hold. Inhale and then release that out. And expand the ribs back into the floor. And you may or may not be able to access these muscles yet. Exhaling. Holding. Inhale, release. Hold the breath and just relax. Maybe shake out the shoulders. And then exhale. Squeeze the ribs, bottom of the ribs even, all the way to the top below the collarbone. Hold it out. Inhale, release everything to the floor. One more, exhale. Pull it out, press it out, compress it out. Hold it away from the floor. Inhale, release. You should feel that even expand into the back ribs. And exhale, relax. And let the breaths reset here. Move the spine around a little bit. Shake it out. We're just going to do 3 nice, easy breaths now along all 3 chambers, along the whole spine. In through the nose, inhale, fill from the bottom all the way up the spine to the top. Hold the breath. Shake out the shoulders. And exhale. Maybe a tiny bit of compression on the exhale. Squeeze the pelvic floor. Inhale, release. Gently fill the whole spine. Pause. Maybe inhale a little more. Hold. And exhale. At the end of the exhale, gently pull up the pelvic floor. P muscles, poo muscles, hold. Inhale, fill the whole spine. Imagine filling the whole spine. Hold it. Inhale just a tiny bit more. And exhale. Using the sound to gently bring the air out to the lungs, cinching and sealing up at the pelvic floor. Inhale. Exhale. Just let it fall out. In and out the nose here. Just letting the breath reset. Allowing it to go where it wants to go. Learning to separate the control versus observation. And notice if it's in a different space than it was the last time you observed this space. This feeling. Coming back to the pressure into the floor. I want you to slowly remove the hands from the forehead, press them or place them just at the chest, and then slowly press back, nice and easy, to child's pose. Big toes together, knees out. I want the quads to support the ribs. I don't want them too wide where the chest is falling between the legs, but use the legs to support the torso. The arms can be straight out or hands on the forehead, or even your arms draped down by your side with the palms up. I want you to find the most natural, comfortable position. And that forehead, feel the pressure of that forehead either in the hands or into the floor. Just gently shake the head side to side. Take a gentle inhale. And exhale. Inhale one more time. Exhale. In and out the nose, just feeling again that gentle pressure now, not on the floor, but into the ribs, into the legs, into the quads, the inner thighs. Finding that neutral point again in that breath. You can stay here for as long as you want. Or you can slowly come up onto the heels. Keeping the eyes closed. Palms up on top of the quads, on top of the legs. Finding that neutral position for the spine, just allowing it to sit over the heels. That head lifted nice and tall, like it's gently being hung from the skies. Feeling the spaces between each vertebrae, relaxing with the traction. The head being held by the sky and the hips being rooted into the heels, into the earth. This moment of reprieve, of space for the nervous system as it flows through the fingers into the toes. From the heart, from the core, from the center, from the base of the spine. From all these 3 chambers. Smile and give thanks to your nervous system for joining us today in this practice, for allowing you to not only control, but observe and to see, and to start to understand how the body talks to us and speaks to us. But we must begin to use our imagination so that we can have a conversation. You can slowly open the eyes. Thank you for joining me today. The beginning of that practice was actually intended to make a video for a client, but as that went on, I realized that this is something for everybody in my channel. And this is a practice that you must do over and over again. And each time you do it, you're going to hear something and feel something a little differently. And this is a really good example of what primal coding is, and the beginning of it, and how to practice these mechanisms, how to get an image. You're building tools by the simple practice of awareness that translate into every area of your life, every single area. So thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Sat Nam.